Did you self-finance all Roads to Pearla?
Actually, we financed ROADS to Pearla with private equity, tax, and debt. So a bank, and then that's the three components how we got it. So we had investors, and then we shot in Oklahoma that gave us a 32% tax incentive to shoot there, and then we made up that tax incentive through financing through a bank loan with that. So that's how we came up with the budget, and we're able to hit the ground in Oklahoma because of that. Yeah.
So what happens first? The self-financing, you have like your own little chunk, and then you decide what state you want to go to and go to their film commission, or what?
Yeah, so you could go like Atlanta, New Mexico, Louisiana. It just all depends, and then you have to go to the film commission. You file an application. You got to if it meets all the requirements, and even while you're in production, you have to keep really good books and records, and there's going to be a third-party audit and all these different things before. So it's pretty extensive, and you want to have that covered and of that. But if you were to shoot, whether it's in California, Vancouver, for producers out there that are trying to raise $1, having a tax incentive, you really need to raise 68 cents to the dollar. So that's what that meant, because you're spending in that state and you're also hiring the crew. In that there's supposed to be a percentage of cast and crew that is from that state to follow the rules of the tax incentives. So each state will have their own, like New York and New Mexico and things like that. So it's a really, I think right now, even in Australia or New Zealand, because of the pandemic, I think their incentives, if I read correctly, was like 50% or something now. So
wow.
They're just trying to get production going.
And then tell me about this loan.
Oh, so let's say your budget is $10 million, and you're shooting in Oklahoma, and they're going to give you 32%. So really, effectively, you only have to raise $6.8 million, right? So, but to make the full $10 million, you don't get that money right away. You need to make up that sort of gap and things. So you need to get a collateral or loan to make the 10 million, the 3.2 million. So that would be a bank or whoever could give you that. That's what debt, or maybe there's another person that's going to loan you that money, but that's going to be debt. So that's what happened. So after you finish shooting, after you do the audit, then you get the money back from Oklahoma. After you file everything, then you could pay back the debt.
And that's a gap loan?
I'm not too.
Oh, okay.
That's a little bit. That's a little bit different.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you can't get one without the other. So you couldn't just go and say, "Hey, I want to shoot here and I want incentives," but then you don't have your own "quote unquote" equity deposit that you're putting in. You've got to have that first. Is that right? Because you can't go without any of your own money in, or is that?
Well,
not
you
true?
can't.
You can.
It just depends, because if you want the full budget, because that includes post-production, deliverables, and things. If you're an independent producer and you have just enough to get into production, maybe do another fundraise or another raise later to finish the movie, called finishing funds, just in case. Because if you just want to get like in production, you could raise the production budget. Post-production money could be raised later. It just all depends on how you do it. For instance, it costs to color the film, to make DCPs, to get an editor, things, all of that. That's the composer, sound mix. But if you just have enough money to get into production, a lot of it just depends on you and your producers and how you feel about that. It's tricky. It's definitely you want the full budget, but if you have enough just to get in production, and then the actors are only available that time period, you never know if it's going to go. So you're like, hey, let's just get on the ground and shoot.
So theoretically, can you approach a film commission to apply for incentives before you have any budget raised?
They'll ask you if you do. You got to show how much capital and equity that you've raised and things. I didn't fill that part out, so the other producers did, but I'm not specific on the Oklahoma thing. But we had raised the equity to get there, and then you have to, I believe, show your bank statements and things like that. So they know, hey, you're just gonna say, hey, I have the budget, and then you get there and you don't, and things like that. So yeah, they have their vetting process as well.
And you had originally wanted to shoot in Texas, correct?
That's correct, yeah, and that's because the film's set in Texas, and I had scouted in Fort Worth and things, but just strictly because of the tax incentive, and we just drove up 3 hours, having the same landscape, and we were able to shoot in Oklahoma instead. Yeah.